if I think it would make far fewer mistakes, obviously, if I could go, like, here's a list of all the dumb things you're about to do, please do not do them. Very long list, and like, I've made so many foolish mistakes, I have lost count, honestly. There's no need even to have a college degree at all. If somebody graduated from a great university, that may be an indication that they will be capable of great things, but it's not necessarily the case. You know, if you look at, say, people like Bill Gates or Larry Ellison, Steve Jobs, these guys didn't graduate from college. But if you had a chance to hire them, of course, that would be a good idea. Yeah. Looking just for evidence of exceptional ability, and if there's a track record of exceptional achievement, then it's likely that that will continue into the future. I mean, I seem to have a high innate drive, and that's been true even since I was a little kid. You know, I really had a very strong drive. Did all sorts of risky things when I was a kid that like, why did I do those things? They're crazy. I care a lot about the truth of things and trying to understand the truth of things. You know, if you're going to come up with some solution, then the truth is really, really important. Actually, I created a little school. It's called Ad Astra, which means to the stars. There's no like not grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 type of thing. And making all the children go in the same grade at the same time, like an assembly line. I know. You know, because some people love English or languages, some people love math, some people love music, different abilities at different times. It makes more sense to cater the education to match their aptitudes and abilities. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one principle. That it's important to teach problem solving, or teach to the problem, not to the tools. Mm. Let's say you're trying to teach people about how engines work, or you know, the more traditional approach would be to say, well, we're going to teach you all about screwdrivers and wrenches, and you're going to have a course on screwdrivers, a course on wrenches, and all these things. And this is a very difficult way to do it. A much better way would be like, here's the engine. Now let's take it apart. How are we going to take it apart? Oh, you need a screwdriver. That's what the screwdriver is for. You need a wrench. That's what the wrench is for. Mm-hmm. And then a very important thing happens, which is that the relevance of the tools becomes apparent. The regular schools, they weren't doing the things that I thought should be done. The ability to attract and motivate great people is critical to the success of a company, because a company is it's a group of people that are assembled to create a product or service. That's the purpose of a company. People sometimes forget this elementary truth, and so if if you're able to get great people to join the company and work together towards a common goal, and you sort of have a relentless sense of perfection about that goal, then you will end up with a great product. And if you have a great product, lots of people will buy it, and then the company will be successful. Yeah. But really, it's pretty straightforward, really. I wouldn't say I'm fearless. In fact, I think I feel fear quite strongly. If what I'm doing I think is important enough, then I just override the fear. Mm-hmm. So, but it's not as though I feel it like more strongly than I would like. I mean, I thought both Tesla and SpaceX would fail at the beginning. But then, of course, the companies encounter difficulties and then have a choice of either let the company die or put all the money into the companies. And so I really didn't want the companies to die, so I put all the money in the companies. Yeah. And then I had to borrow money from friends to pay living expenses. Don't optimize something that shouldn't exist. If people are trained to do this in college, you can't say no to the professor. The professor's going to give you the exam and you've got to answer all the questions, or they will get angry. You always you always answer the question. A lot of the times you should say this is the wrong question. And I think just generally taking the approach that your design is some degree wrong, probably a lot more than you think. Your goal is to make it less wrong over time. Mm-hmm. You don't need college to learn stuff, okay? Everything is available basically for free. You can learn anything you want for free. It is not a question of learning. Can somebody work hard at something, including a bunch of sort of annoying homework assignments, and still do their homework assignments and kind of soldier through and get it done? So I think colleges are basically for fun and to prove you can do your chores, but they're not for learning. Particularly if you're starting a company, you need to work super hard.
Instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch. And we showered at the YMCA. And we're so hot up, we had just one computer. So the website was up during the day, and I was coding at night. 7 days a week, all the time. So briefly had a girlfriend in that period, and in order to be with me, she had to sleep in the office. So work hard, like, every waking hour. That's the thing I would say, particularly if you're starting a company. And I mean, if you do simple math, you say like, okay, if somebody else is working 50 hours and you're working 100, you'll get twice as much done in the course of a year as the other company. Attract great people. So either join a group that's amazing, that you really respect, or if you're building a company, you've got to gather great people. I mean, all a company is a group of people that have gathered together to create a product or service. And so depending upon how talented and hardworking that group is, and the degree to which they are focused cohesively in a good direction, that will determine the success of the company. Do everything you can to gather great people if you're creating a company. Keep thinking about, are these efforts that people are expending, are they resulting in a better product or service? And if they're not, stop those efforts. And now is the time to take risk. You won't regret it.
My recommendation would really be spend less time on finance, spend less time in conference rooms, less time on PowerPoint, and more time just trying to make your product as amazing as possible. What's the point of a company at all? And why even have companies? It's like a company is an assembly of people gathered together to create a product or service and deliver that product or service. And sometimes people lose sight of that. A company has no value in and of itself. It only has value to the degree that it is an effective allocator of resources to create goods and services that are of greater value than the cost of the inputs. This thing we call profit is should just mean over time that the value of the output is worth more than the inputs. Earnestly would recommend to anyone listening that just spend less time in meeting rooms, less time on PowerPoint presentations, less time on a spreadsheet, and more time on the factory floor, more time with customers. And obviously a lot of people out there are already doing that, but I would just urge people to say like, hey, step back a second and say, is your product as awesome as it could be? Probably not. What could you do to make it great? And you know, if you like think about innovation, like maybe it has to be like breakthrough innovation. I don't think it necessarily has to be breakthrough innovation. It's just like make your product better. This is the thing that really matters. I mean, step number one would be try. and have you tried? And have you tried hard? And if you haven't tried hard, try hard. I think it is learnable. It's not some mysterious thing. It's just basically just be like an absolute perfectionist about the product that you make, the service that's provided. Seek negative feedback from all quarters. From customers, from people who aren't customers, like, hey, okay, what can we make this? How can we make this better? And you know, I think it's absolutely learnable. And just if you find yourself spending a lot of time in getting presentations and reviewing spreadsheets, you're barking up the wrong tree. That's the effect, not the cause. So just get out there on the factory floor, get out there in the stores, talk to customers, think about what would you love to have. Oh, and you know, sometimes I think it's at times like we don't love this product, but we think others will love it. You know, that's not really how it works. If you don't love it, don't expect others will either. Nobody bleeds for the prince in the palace. Get out there on the goddamn front line and you know, show them that you care and that you're not just in some plush office somewhere.